You wake up, just like any other morning. The soft glow of daylight seeps through the curtains. The house is quiet, but your body, it feels heavy, stiff. As you swing your legs over the side of the bed, there's a dull ache in your knees. Maybe your hips too. A kind of soreness that seems to have crept in slowly year after year, like an uninvited guest that never left. You pause. And in that moment of stillness, a thought crosses your mind. When did walking become something you had to prepare for? There was a time you moved freely, wasn't there? You didn't think twice about a trip to the store, a walk in the park, dancing in the kitchen. Your legs were strong. Your steps were steady. Your body felt like home. Now you watch your friends slow down. Some use walkers. Some can't leave the house much anymore. You hear stories about surgeries and pain pills, and quietly, maybe even fearfully, you wonder, is that where I'm headed to? Have you ever asked yourself, not just how long you want to live, but how you want to live? Not merely surviving, but walking tall, living freely, feeling proud of your body, no matter your age. Here's the truth. Aging doesn't mean giving up vitality, and walking without pain after 60 isn't a fantasy. It's a path. One that begins with something simple, gentle, natural. And the best part? You only need 2 foods to begin the journey back to ease, strength, and dignity. Let's take this walk together. Let's talk about something we often take for granted until it begins to slip away. Walking, the simple act of rising from a chair, stepping outside into the sunshine, moving through the world with ease and confidence. It's one of the most basic freedoms we have, and yet, as the years go by, it often becomes one of the first freedoms to fade. Maybe you've felt it. The tightening in your legs, the aching in your knees, that cautious shuffle replacing your once steady stride. Maybe you've caught yourself reaching for a handrail more often than you used to, or declining invitations simply because the walk from the parking lot felt like too much. It's not just about pain, it's about independence. When walking becomes hard, everything gets smaller. Your world shrinks. Social visits become fewer. Grocery trips feel daunting. And slowly, without even noticing, your days become quieter, more still, less you. But it doesn't have to be that way. This isn't about chasing youth or pretending we're 30 again. It's about reclaiming what matters: movement, freedom, dignity. And here's the beautiful truth. The path to walking pain-free after 60 doesn't start in a gym. It doesn't require fancy equipment, expensive treatments, or confusing routines. It starts in your kitchen. Yes, 2 simple foods, backed by science, gentle on your body. Easy to find, and even easier to add into your daily life. These aren't trendy fads. They're natural allies, nutritional powerhouses that help reduce inflammation, strengthen your joints, and restore the fluid movement you may have thought was gone for good. No gimmicks, no overwhelm, just real, meaningful insight, told with care and compassion. This is about taking back control, one day at a time. A quiet but powerful decision to stop the decline and start walking with strength again. Because your story isn't over, and how you walk through the rest of it matters. You've probably heard it 100 times. That's just aging. A little stiffness in the morning? That's aging. A slower gait? Must be aging. Pain in your knees after a short walk? Of course, aging. But what if that's not the full story? What if some of the discomfort you've been living with isn't inevitable, but reversible? What if your body isn't breaking down, but simply missing something it quietly, desperately needs? We tend to think of aging as a slow closing of doors, less strength, less movement, less energy. But maybe It's not the years that are taking these things away from you. Maybe it's what your body isn't getting anymore. Think about it. When was the last time you really thought about what your joints are made of, what your muscles are asking for, what your bones need, not just to exist, but to thrive? Let me share a story. A woman named Eleanor, 74, reached out to us not long ago. She used to love walking every morning, but over time, her knees began to ache so badly that even standing up from a chair made her wince. Doctors told her it was just arthritis, part of getting older. She tried pain meds, creams, even considered surgery. But nothing truly helped until she changed what she was eating. 2 simple additions to her meals. That's it. Within weeks, she noticed less stiffness. Within months, she was back to walking around her neighborhood. No limp, no grimace, just a quiet joy in moving again. And she's not alone. Because what many people think is simply old age is often your body whispering, "I need something." And here's the beautiful part. That something might be growing in a garden, sitting on a grocery shelf, or waiting in your pantry right now. In just a moment, I'll show you the 2 foods that helped Eleanor and countless others walk pain-free again. But first, we need to understand why the body begins to struggle in the first place. Because when you know what's really going on, the path forward becomes clear. Let's begin where healing often begins, at the table. If you think about it, your body is like a home you've lived in for over 7 decades. It's been through storms and sunshine, wear and tear. The walls may creak a little more now, and the foundation might need extra care. But here's the good news. Even the oldest homes can stand strong when given the right kind of maintenance. And for your body, one of the most powerful tools for repair is food. Not just calories, not just eating to fill the belly, but truly nourishing your bones, joints, and muscles, feeding the very cells that keep you standing, walking, living. Here's something you may not hear often enough. After the age of 70, your body absorbs nutrients differently. Digestion slows down. Inflammation rises. Your tissues don't rebuild quite as fast. That means every bite matters more than ever. Take Harold, for instance, an 82-year-old grandfather from Oregon. For years, he chalked up his hip pain to aging. He stopped gardening, stopped walking his dog, even stopped standing to cook. His doctor prescribed anti-inflammatory pills, but the relief was short-lived. It wasn't until a friend mentioned the idea of anti-inflammatory foods that Harold began to look at his plate differently. He swapped out processed snacks for real, whole foods. He added just 2 specific ingredients, both deeply healing, both natural, and within weeks, something shifted. He wasn't cured overnight, but one morning, he realized he'd stood at the stove for half an hour cooking breakfast without reaching once for the counter to brace himself. Have you ever felt like Harold? Like your body is slowing down and you don't know why? What if it's not just the years behind you, but the fuel you're giving yourself now? Nutrition isn't about perfection. It's about support, a quiet form of love. And when you give your body the right kind of nourishment, even after 70, it remembers how to move and how to heal. In the next section, we'll talk about a surprising truth. Why pain-free walking often starts not with exercise, but with something much gentler. Now, let's talk about something most doctors won't mention when you complain about joint pain or fatigue. Your gut. It might sound odd at first. What could your stomach possibly have to do with your knees, or your hips, or that aching lower back that keeps you from walking to the mailbox? But the truth is, your gut is like the command center of your body's entire health system. And when it's out of balance, everything suffers. Your energy, your mood, even the inflammation in your joints. Inside your gut, live trillions of tiny organisms, good bacteria that help break down food, absorb nutrients, and calm the fires of inflammation. But as we age, that balance can get disrupted. Years of stress, medications, processed foods, and simple wear and tear take their toll. And when those helpful bacteria decline, your body starts sending distress signals: swelling, stiffness, foggy thinking, poor digestion, and yes, even pain in the very joints you rely on to move through the world. I want to tell you about Rosa, a 76-year-old widow from Florida. She had battled arthritis for nearly a decade. She tried stretching, physical therapy, anti-inflammatories, everything. But her hands still throbbed. Her knees still ached. She had almost accepted it as her new normal. Then her granddaughter, who was studying nutrition, encouraged her to try something different. Instead of more pills, they focused on her gut. Together, they added probiotic-rich foods to her meals. They removed a few known gut irritants. And, most importantly, they stayed consistent. The change didn't happen overnight. But one afternoon, Rosa called her granddaughter crying, not from pain, but from joy. She'd just walked to the corner market and back with no pain. None. Have you noticed how your body responds when you feel truly at peace? Not just emotionally, but physically too. Your gut plays a bigger role in that peace than you might think. In the next section, we'll explore something even gentler than nutrition or supplements, something we often overlook in our rush to do more: the healing power of simply being. By now, you've seen that healing isn't always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet, gentle, a series of small steps that, over time, carry you back to strength. So let's talk about the power of habits, not major lifestyle overhauls, not rigid routines that feel like boot camp, just small intentional moments that nudge your body toward relief, day by day. Because here's the truth. At this stage of life, it's not about doing more. It's about doing what truly matters. Let's start with the morning. What if, before reaching for the coffee or shuffling to the bathroom, you sat on the edge of your bed and took 3 slow breaths? Then gently rolled your ankles, stretched your arms overhead, placed your feet flat on the floor, and simply stood tall for 10 seconds, feeling your balance, your center, your dignity? That's a morning routine. Simple, powerful. These tiny rituals, done consistently, begin to reawaken your body. They wake up the muscles that protect your joints. They improve blood flow. They reduce falls. And maybe most importantly, they help you feel like yourself again. Then there's food. Not a complete diet overhaul, just mindful shifts. A sprinkle of turmeric on your eggs, a few walnuts with your afternoon tea, a tall glass of water before your walk. Each small choice is a seed of healing. I think of James, a 79-year-old former teacher who once told me, "I started standing while brushing my teeth, just to get my legs working." That one habit reminded him he still had control. It led to a short daily walk, then to swapping soda for green tea. Today, James says he feels lighter, not just in his body, but in his heart. What's one small change you could try this week? Maybe it's stretching before breakfast. Maybe it's adding one anti-inflammatory food to your lunch. Maybe it's putting your walking shoes by the door, ready for a 5-minute stroll. The point isn't perfection, it's presence. These little choices, they stack up. And over time, they carry you back to freedom. Next, we'll explore the last and perhaps most powerful element of walking pain-free, a shift that doesn't start in your body, but in your mind. There's something many health conversations leave out. Not nutrition, not movement, not even medicine, but meaning. Because when we talk about walking pain-free, we're not just talking about joints and muscles. We're talking about why you want to move, where you're going, who you're showing up for, and perhaps most importantly, who you are now. You see, healing doesn't start in the body. It starts in the heart. After 70, the world can feel quieter. Children move out, careers wind down, friends pass on, and somewhere in that stillness, it's easy to start wondering, am I still needed? Do I still matter? But you do, more than ever. Purpose isn't something reserved for the young. It evolves with age, it softens, it deepens. It might look like tending a garden, volunteering once a week, writing letters to old friends, or simply getting up every morning to care for yourself with dignity and love. I want to tell you about Margaret. She's 81, and for most of her 70s, she battled loneliness and chronic pain. Her knees ached, her back throbbed, and emotionally, she felt like she was fading. Then one day, while visiting the community center, she overheard someone mention a walking group that met at the park. She almost didn't go, but something in her stirred. The next morning, she showed up. At first, she just sat on a bench and watched. Then the next week, she walked a little. The week after that, a little more. And slowly, Margaret wasn't just moving again. She was living again. She made friends. She laughed. She felt seen. The pain? Still there, but quieter. The difference? Now she had a reason to rise each morning. Something to walk toward. What do you want the next chapter of your life to feel like? Because it's not over. Not even close. There's still beauty to discover, peace to claim, and strength waiting quietly inside you. And sometimes, all it takes is one small shift from fear to purpose. You've come a long way in this quiet conversation. We began in a place many know too well. The morning stiffness, the quiet aches, the creeping doubt about whether your best days are behind you. But look where we are now. You've seen how pain doesn't have to be permanent, how food can be medicine, how the gut, the mind, and the heart are all beautifully connected. You've seen how purpose, even a small one, can breathe strength into tired legs and tired spirits. You are not too old. You are not broken. You are not done yet. Your body still listens. When you nourish it, when you move it, when you love it enough to stay curious, to stay kind, to keep showing up even when it's hard. Remember this, pain may have been your companion for a while, but it does not have to write the rest of your story. You have more chapters, you have more steps to take, and maybe, just maybe, those steps won't hurt like they used to. Not because of a miracle cure, not because of a pill, but because you made small, powerful choices. You paid attention, you cared, and you didn't give up. You're here after all. Watching this, listening, learning. That alone makes you remarkable. You didn't turn away. You're still fighting for your health. That matters more than you know. So now, what comes next? Maybe it's trying one new food. Maybe it's stretching tomorrow morning. Maybe it's just pausing to ask yourself, what do I still want from this life? Because there's still so much left to feel, to give, to become. This is your time. Not to be perfect, not to be fast, but to be present. To take back the rhythm of your steps. To feel strong in your skin again. To trust that healing can be slow and still sacred. Start now, even if it's slow, even if it's quiet. Every small step is still yours. Now take a breath with me. Let everything you've just heard settle. Not in your head, but in your heart. Because this wasn't just information. It was an invitation to think, to feel, to remember that you still have the power to change, gently, intentionally, beautifully. So I want to ask you something. What was one thing that made you think differently today? Was it the idea that your pain might be linked to your gut? That your body still responds to your care, even now? That purpose and routine could be as healing as medicine. And more importantly, what small change will you try starting tomorrow morning? Maybe it's a stretch before you rise, or adding a spoonful of something healing to your breakfast, or just a few moments in the mirror reminding yourself, you're still here. You're still strong. These aren't just suggestions. They're doorways. Each one opens to a life that feels a little more free, a little more joyful, a little more you. And you don't have to walk that path alone. This space, this channel, it's not just about videos. It's a community, a circle of wise, resilient people just like you. People who are choosing to live with intention, to age with courage, and to share what they're learning along the way. So, share your story. Leave a comment. Tell us what's helped you, what you're struggling with, what gives you hope. And if this message touched something inside you, subscribe. Not because you should, but because we're walking this road together. Every week, we'll keep showing up with guidance, with heart, and with deep respect for the beautiful journey you're on. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are still becoming. Let today be the first step in a new direction.